Hello, I'm Larissa. Welcome to Goblins of Discord. If you would like to get typed by me, you can click below. You can book a link over Zoom, or you can just submit a video for the introverts. So I'm typing Stephen King, who I think is widely accepted on the internet as a 5-wing-6. But I'm going into his full typing, and I think he's one of the weird ones. Obviously, he would be Stephen King. Um, yeah, and I was like really obsessed with him when I was younger. I can't remember when I started reading his books. I think I was in grade 7. I remember that was when I was like it was I was so obsessed with horror as a little kid, and so whenever it was like my birthday or I was allowed to pick a movie, it was always Stephen King movies, like which he has a million of, a million books, a million adaptations. Yeah, it was always Stephen King books. It's like you get into R.L. Stein if you're like a kid who's into horror. You start with like start with R.L. Stein, and then you go straight to Stephen King. It's like going from like marijuana to cocaine. um, but like cocaine with like a downer as well because the books are so fucking long. I think that's probably why I really liked his short story collections the most. And also some of his shorter stuff. He often like wrote his less like genre stuff was usually a bit shorter. But he was so prolific, he even wrote under a pseudonym. So, dude has an engine, let's just say. He's definitely not nine fixed. He's got that maniac energy, that just fucking nonstop writing energy. Um, yeah, I think I remember reading The Mist on a road trip where I was stuck in a car with my parents for a really long time. And the mist was like whoa when I first read it, and I love the adaptation of The Mist. The ending is so fucking good if you haven't watched it, not the TV show, I'm talking about the movie. But yeah, I'll just like look at his stuff for a second because it's so self-preservation social, like the writing style. It starts with like the weather, the location, the date, the weather. This is such a like self-pres social framework. I think it's like this is what happened on the night, the worst, it's the heat wave in New England, the thunderstorm, the long lake, the water, the dark. I don't know. It's very self-pres socially. This I'm not really selling this story per se, but um, worth. I think his stuff's worth reading. Obviously, he's like, and just Carrie. I think Carrie was the first book that he got published, and it's I think still one of his best books. I kind of haven't read anything for a long time. Kind of unhinged on Twitter. It's very political to the point where one might mistake him for a 6 or a social self-pres. It's just, yeah, a lot of political, anti-Trump, I don't even know. But I will say this, he does post a lot of other people's work. This is one thing about Stephen King, is that he's very supportive of other people, other writers, other creatives. He's very generous with his time. Like, I actually don't know how he finds this much time in his day, which again points against him not being 9 fixed, because 5 is a withdrawn type to begin with. So he would have to have other stuff going on to give him that momentum. But he does promote other people's stuff. He actually promoted one of my best friend's movies, and it was like a huge highlight last year for my friend. It was like very meaningful. So I like I like that he's not one of those shitty like old school gatekeepers. He's very generous with his time because he reads and watches other people's stuff. And I think that that's big actually because I'm pretty sure he's a 5-wing-6, but he's generous with his time and energy. He promotes other people. And so I think that that speaks to him having a 2 fix potentially. Um, yeah, we'll watch some videos in a second, but I just kind of wanted to like set this up a little bit. He posts a lot about his dogs. It's like either movies or dogs. He has, I think, 3 kids. 2 of them are writers. I really like Joe Hill's stuff that I've read. Yeah, and like he's in a band. He's doing a lot of stuff. Like again, like I don't know where he finds like his fucking energy to do all of this shit. So, and he's old now. Um, he also sequestered himself in Bangor. People can find him. Everybody knows where he lives. You can take a photo in front of his house. He doesn't really seem to care that much, I don't think. So again, for a 5, I think that speaks to him having, I think he's 8 fixed as well. So I think he's triple rejection, which is a rare combo. I think the only other person I've typed with that, like on this channel, is Grace Jones, who I typed 8-5 to. But yeah, I think, assuming both of these are even right. But yeah, he has like this big mansion in Bangor. I think it's Bangor. Yeah, Bangor, Maine. And tons of nerds take photos in front of his spiderweb gate. But he's like a happy guy. Like, so I can't claim credit for noticing this, but I'm not crediting the person who did notice it 'cause I don't like them anymore. But somebody did notice that because we were talking about how a lot of his movies, and his books rather, Christine is actually one of my favorite books of his, like full books. It's like the fear of the car, right? Fear of the car turning on you, killing you. And then that's shown up in a lot of his other stuff. Like he directed Maximum Overdrive, which is like I think he was like fucked up on cocaine for the entire thing. So it's like this crazy action packed. When he got really maniacal and was like, I'm gonna be a director too, like, which I get, like, it's like, why not, right? You're this prolific, you might as well take your energy and like redirect it elsewhere. I don't think it was quite for him though. Probably not as a 5. But again, it was like evil cars or whatever, like but then he got hit by a car. So it was like almost like, because this is the theme in like multiple, it's like the machines coming for you. Again, I just did a Tegazinski typing, and he had the machines coming for you thing. Like it's more rooted in how this would affect people, how this would affect your everyday person. I'm reaching. But yeah, I'm pretty sure he was like just jacked up the whole time making this movie. It's worth watching just because it's entertaining. Where was I going with this? Oh, so yeah, but then he got hit by a car. He like lives in the middle of nowhere. So you think he's not likely to get hit by a car, but he would walk every day along the fucking highway. And then some guy hit him. So this is like, I talk about this in the personality traps videos, where it's like like is like a 5 getting hit by a car like what they're manifesting with their personality type? No, not per se, but we each have our own specific fears within the fear that the thing that we're trying to avoid, the thing that we're fixating on, whatever. So it's like him, like he almost manifested it in some weird way by fixating on it. It's like, I'm going to be a competency type that like walls myself off from any way that like people could, get to me. I'm really good at this one thing, and I conquer my fear through my artistry, through my writing. I face my fears every day down at the page. I face it, and still one of his worst fears manifested. So I mean, he gave us a lot of options. Obviously, it could have been a clown. It could have been he could have been, the gangbang scene. It was a sexual awakening, I'm sure, for so many young people, and probably a bunch of perverts too. But yeah, and then the lore is that the guy who ran him down with his van, ended up dying on Stephen King's birthday. So, is Stephen King involved in the dark arts? Maybe. 5s do like their symbols, so who's to say? Who's to say? I'm not making any accusations, and even if he did do it, I don't know. Can you blame him? And then I think he sold the car, or he bought the car, and then he was gonna have people come hit it with bats or something, and I don't remember the whole lore around it, but it's kind of entertaining. Stephen King's not an angry guy. It's like he's funny and sweet, but he also seems like he's got that vindictive streak, which is why I think he could be 8 fixed, and I think 8 wing 7 fixed, because he does have like a kind of, well, let's watch him actually. I'll just stop talking. And he's like he's being kind of flirtatious, he's being kind of activating, he's being forward for a 5. So, and I do believe he's a 5 wing 6. I mean, outside of the glasses that he's wearing, Here, let's just close these. Okay.
Hear yourself when you're writing these books?
Once in a while. Not very often. A lot of times, what you feel surfacing on your face is the sort of grin that I'm with.
And he's kind of got like the. He's got this sort of like, I don't know, this is like, just doesn't exactly hold up, okay? This is just a theory I've noticed. People with like 5'6" to influence something like this sometimes have bunny teeth. I don't know. He's kind of got the bunny teeth. It's not a hard and fast, not hard and fast, okay? This is just one little observation.
Wearing right now because you know it's tight and right and that it's working. And for instance, I'm on tour to promote this movie, Maximum Overdrive. And when we did dailies and something came off that might be really grotesque, and in some cases turned out to be much too grotesque to actually be in the film, you would hear people laughing hilariously and they would applaud and stuff like that. Because your first emotion in both humor and horror is this sort of childish delight. That's a very low emotion, but
Delight and
once in a
relief,
while,
one might add, that it's over.
There was a bathtub scene in The Shining where I scared myself, and in Pet Sematary, for long periods of time, I just felt very, very wired and very.
Yeah, and he's writing to his own fear right there too. Like there's the parental fear in Pet Sematary of like the kid getting killed, like the kid running out onto the street and getting run over. So he's kind of like tapped into a lot of car stuff for some reason.
Comfortable with what I was writing about.
He once described people's love of horror as that feeling of being afraid to put their fingers in the toaster, or somehow a secret.
Yeah, again, it's more like technology, like fear of technology, sort of like, but his is more like socially technology related, like where it's like these practical technological things that can hurt you.
Fascination with the person who got ground up in an industrial blender, that type of thing, and the penchant to stop and look at accidents. But in your own personal life, are there things that you are actually afraid of? Because you certainly make people afraid of their dogs, their cars, their trucks, their cats.
And this guy has been asked this question hundreds of times, if not thousands. I used to watch like a lot of interviews with him because like I write stuff. I don't talk about it, but I write stuff, and like Stephen King was such a huge inspiration, or I don't know if I would say influence on me per se, but like a big inspiration where I was like really like envious of his output, and I was like, what is he doing? What is he tapped into that he's able to just fucking pound? I mean, it was cocaine and beer. That was part of it, and then the beer thing didn't work for me. Did not work. It did not work. I did try it. Cocaine. Never been into the cocaine. It gives me nose zits. Don't like that. But I also think he's 8-wing-7 fix. So he's got this kind of maniac engine, even if he's like a withdrawn type. It's like, I don't know. He's tapped in. Gives him that motor to produce. And self-pres. Self-pres doms are better, I think, at like maybe regulating themselves in that way. Like they're not, this is reductive and it won't apply to like 4-fixers or whatever, but I think that like self-pres doms as a whole are just kind of better at like getting into that like self-pres motorway and like just going straight.
Well, I'm afraid of trucks and cars. I mean, Maximum Overdrive is about trucks. Christine was about a car that drives by itself. Because as a child, they seem so large and I seem so small, and I had the same imagination then that I do now, except that for a kid, everything is harder to control. That's why they fall down and have scabby knees all the time. And I would imagine them starting up, even if they were stopped, and kind of scuttle behind them.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, this is also where I can see, like, this Wing 6 stuff, is that he does tap into like a lot of childhood stuff, like a lot of nostalgia, a lot of like the community, our upbringing. And even though like as a 5, he's sort of the observer, he's kind of more zoomed out and analytical. It's like, it's without flourish, if you will. It's like without fanfare, without flourish, without the need to like sort of, you know, elaborate and make it a little bit melodramatic, if you will. Well, here's a little bit of melodrama. A moth-eaten wolf, which was foaming sawdust instead of saliva around his muzzle, snarled, a creepy eternal snarl. I don't know. It was a little bit. but not really. So Stephen King had allegiance to family, and like this could be partly two-fix. I like you look at Stephen King, he's got this cute eagerness to his face that it's like, I don't know. I feel like he has to have positive in his type. Again, like I said, he's very generous with like promoting other people. Um, I think he got competitive with like Stanley Kubrick because of The Shining, because of all of that drama. But I think that was like I think because it was like about him, like The Shining was sort of about him, and then Stanley Kubrick kind of twisted it and made it something different. Obviously, he would. Um, Maybe I'll type Stanley Kubrick also. Like I keep meaning to do that. So that was like maybe part of it, that he sort of felt like he betrayed the kernel of the story, the essence of the story. But yeah, he's kind of got more of that like dorky 5-wing-6 thing, like the sort of scientist kind of like look to him, the sort of like data, like even though he's not studying data or anything, he sort of has that look to him. He doesn't have that like morose outsider kind of thing going on, even though he sort of is an outsider. Like he's chosen to live in Bangor. He is compartmental. I mean, it could be compartmentalization if he goes on trips or something, and he doesn't want to deal with. He doesn't want to live in the midst of like the Hollywoods, or whatever the hangers on. But he has kept like his life largely compartmentalized, and he's kept his family this whole time. He's stayed married to Tabitha. He's stayed like been a dad. There were ups and downs. There were ups and downs. There were ultimatums, but he has stayed connected to the family. And where the difference I see with like Ted Kaczynski, for example, is that he like rejected his family, and then he like stayed in contact with his mother, almost just to punish her is what it felt like. Which to me is for stuff where it's like I'm just gonna send you these letters to rub your nose on what a terrible mother you were. I'll give you a little bit of grace so that you'll keep sending me money, but. Don't want to give up all the four tricks, but anyway.
Because they look so big and blind, and bulldozers, the treads look so cruel, and I would imagine what would happen to my little fingers if they started to move while my not that I would have ever gotten my fingers near them. But even today, if I put an English muffin in the toaster and it only comes about halfway up, I pick up a fork and I start toward that toaster, and I can hear that toaster saying, "Go ahead, punk. Made my day."
But when you
again, there's like a little bit of the adversarial 6 stuff, maybe a little bit of 8 stuff, like like why are you like you're personifying the toaster as like a combatant? Like I don't know.
yeah, I'm just imagining this. I just imagine being in your mind all the time. I mean, you must never stop, and that's why you
What
must
an
write.
awful squirming can of worms.
That's right.
No, it's really not like that at all.
Well, you're probably healthier than most people
Except for the
because you give
blackouts.
vent to so much, except for the
That was my favorite part, except for the blackouts. But he just says casually and then moves on to the next thing, like she didn't even notice. She's like a happy 9. Um, but yeah, there's a little, I think 5, 6, 8 sort of. There's a little darkness in his type. 8-wing-7, chaos agent. Love. I don't know. I think he's sober. I can tell you, I don't know Stephen King. The urge might be there. You never know.
Yeah, that's
and the full moon. Those times bad.
Yeah, that's the best part of it. Is that somebody who's got problems and fears and phobias, they go to a psychiatrist and it costs them maybe $150 an hour, and they don't even get a full hour. They get 50 minutes. I do it. People pay me.
Look at that shit-eating grin. It's just like this kind of 5-wing-6, like like kind of cute nerdy thing with like 2 and 8, like sort of kind of like helper. Like it's like people come to me, I'm the one with them. But it's like this devious, like there's the streak of 8-7 sort of like evil, and then there's like the 2 helper sort of thing. I don't know, 2-wing-3, 2-wing-1. I already looked at his type, but I can't remember what I typed the wing on the 2. Could be 2-wing-1. But he has this sort of devilish, it's like, I'm helping people. by giving them these horror stories that scare the shit out of them.
It's great.
Well, you made a ton of money.
But also he's like kind of gloating about, it's kind of like I think like 5 and 6, like not really self-aware, maybe how it comes across, but also like this kind of 8 like gloat power, you know?
I mean, not to say that you
Gross amounts of
I don't need therapy. People pay me.
best time of your life. You
Yeah.
also made about $25
I'm
million
rich, bitch. 8-7.
on
It's
this.
not that much yet, but I guess it could get there. Gross, huge amounts of money, yeah. I guess it's real. I get statements, and I have a business manager and all that, but it's paper. You know, he says,
Yeah, and so like one of the things with 5s is like 5 and 6 is like they are stingy and they do have scarcity. So for him to like not be all that worried about the money part of it, like I almost feel like I don't know what that is in his type, that maybe it's just like some sort of like 2-ish, um or it's just like he's allocated his resource management towards writing, where it's like his like most valuable resource is time and energy. His ability to his competency ability is in writing, so that's what he focuses on. And then it's like kind of a flex, like that's kind of like a flex for a 5 to be like, I don't think about money, like I don't even know, you know. That's kind of what I think the ideal 5 scenario would be. So we kind of overcome that pattern on some level. Yeah.
we're going into gold. I say, good, send me some. What? I can't do that. I said, sure you can. Send me some gold. It's legal now. So he finally sent me a piece of gold, and it was very boring. It's just a
It
thing.
doesn't do anything unless it comes alive and eats
It
you.
doesn't sing or dance.
No.
No, it's true.
But you don't have any desires to become, on a grandiose scale, to have the Stephen King Park of Horrors or anything like this. You don't want to elaborate.
You know, I do wonder if there's like the 5 scarcity thing is more from like 9-fix influence. And with 8-7, maybe there's less of a, because like 8-7 is lust, gluttony, gambling, risk taking, expansive, invincibility. I don't know. It could be, it's kind of an interesting thing to unpack, maybe, like, because, and I'm not trying to say this to justify like a bad typing or anything. I really do think he's a 5-6, but I think that there's like, there's a way that like our tri types, our fixes and our instincts alter the core type to look a specific way. And like, I think this is where the Enneagram stuff gets confusing. And
Further than the movies and the written word, do you?
No, I don't even think I want to make another movie. It's a primitive way to create. I mean, it's interesting for that reason, because you have to overcome so many odds. You know, I'd really like to have
What?
a pair of lizard skin boots.
yeah, and so like this was an interesting redirect, because he, as a competency type, he's gonna have like ego around what he's competent at, and he wasn't competent at directing. I mean, sure, he was competent enough that if he had kept doing it, he probably could have become a director. But it would be like, it's not his art form, if you will. So he immediately kind of just like redirects the conversation to make this kind of weird joke, like just to like alleviate the tension and like get the attention off this thing that he's not competent at, maybe, or less competent at. Even though he's technically on this, I think, to promote his movie.
No, they could crawl a little bit at night or something like that.
Yeah, just move over carefully to the other side of the room, right? Just keep you on the
But
edge.
actually, this whole image is just totally overblown. I have the heart of a small boy. I keep it in a jar on my desk.
I mean, that was like a bit of a 5-6 joke.
I bet you can.
Oh, there we go. There's the 5-6 lizard moment. Makes a lizard joke, licks his lips, keeping little boy's hearts on his desk. There you go, right there. The amphibious reptilian 5-6.
A lot of mileage out of that one.
I have never used that line before in my entire life.
Okay. Watch the telephone cable there. You know, the one thing too that's interesting though is that Frederick.
Look at his face. didn't really land. He registered that. Um,
Forsyth, another writer, is now directing his own movie. Mm-hmm. And yet you don't see that many directors deciding they're going to write their own books. There seems to be a perception, I think, among writers that they can do it better. And yet you could have easily hired a director that you respected as well. But you had to do it yourself, and I wondered why.
I got curious.
Mm-hmm.
People would write letters, and sometimes what the letters said, they really started to flood in after The Shining. They ruined your book, or they would say, it wasn't what I expected, or it wasn't any good. But what?
Yeah, and so this is like where I was seeing some like more two-ish stuff, sort of. Where it's like he's sort of like putting the onus on the fans, like where it's like the fans wanted me to make it. They needed me to do it. Like it wasn't like my own ego. He did say I got curious, which is a 5 motivation for doing something potentially, especially with the 8 fix where there's the engine. Okay, let's explore this curiosity. 8 wing 7. 8 wing 7 versus 8 wing 9. It's like 8 wing 7s are gonna act on stuff impulsively more than an 8 wing 9 would. So it will make a 5 wing 6 more impulsive and chaotic and driven than if they had like a 9 fix or even a 1 fix. 1 fixes would be more calculated with what they're doing, more strategic, more making sure like, you know, like this, like efficient at what they're doing. And 8 wing 7 adds like an element of kerosene, a Molotov cocktail to a withdrawn type that would otherwise be sort of like sequestered, you know? But you could tell he didn't feel entirely comfortable talking about that. And so in his like, and actually here's maybe it's like some sort of shame response. Like, how do you respond to this thing that maybe made you feel kind of embarrassed? You would maybe do what is in your heart center. And he's sort of doing the 2 thing of like, I did it for other people.
What they were all saying really seemed to boil down to, where the hell were you? You weren't there. And it's like there's a spirit in writers' works, even though it's just print on the page. And sometimes the director gets that. I think that Milos Forman got it when he did One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. There's magic there, so that the heart of the writers in two.
Well, maybe it is 2 wing 3 fix. I don't remember what I landed on before. But his stories do often have, like I said, like they're very nostalgic and they're always tapped into like the past sort of these, like they're always like set in this sort of like, you know, it's like Derry and like these sort of this Stephen King universe that he's created, which can be self-press social. But there's like always, I don't know if I've ever read a single Stephen King outside of like a short story. Like, I don't know how many of his novels are actually like kind of fatalistic or cynical or existentially, like the endings, like I could be totally wrong. A lot of his books are very long, so I don't even know how many of them I've finished. I'm thinking, but I really feel like there's often like this message of like togetherness and like we help each other and like love triumphs and like good conquers like evil and this kind of stuff. She's like 6'2", kind of, you know.
2 places. It's in that book and it's in that movie. And I was curious, you know, if I did it myself, what would happen? Would people say you ruined it yourself, or would they say, yeah, we got what we wanted?
What do you think of it?
Yeah, you're sort of like doing all 3 centers. It's like I just wanted to fuck around and find out 8 wing 7. I got curious. I wanted to like see my own, I wanted to be a scientist investigating my own thing. I just did it as an experiment too, like kind of the audience, again, keeping the audience, the audience that's hanging on Stephen King's, they just want more Stephen King.
You lose all perspective after a certain point.
But it was
I think they're going to come out and say, it was good. Mm-hmm. I'm not rehearsing my Academy Award speech. I think that I think that the people who think that what I write is gross, vulgar, and that it's really terrible go to people. Gotcha.
Yeah, see, there's a little bit of the 8 wing 7 there. He's like kind of fucking with her, but he's doing it in this like 5 wing 6 sort of. It's a little bit off-putting, like the way that he sort of engages with people. It's like it's just a little off-putting.
Dude, you did.
God. See how low this is? To want to do that to people? Why?
Well, it's fun,
Yeah,
obviously.
he's like he's touching her a little too.
It didn't bother me, it made me laugh.
And the other thing too is that he does love doing like the celebrity circuit. He likes doing interviews. So far as I can tell, he's done so fucking many. He likes getting up. I mean, maybe he doesn't like it, but I feel like he does like doing it. He likes getting up. He likes doing talks. I'm sure like he's limited now because of his age and like because like he probably has health issues or whatever, but it's like he does enjoy putting himself out there. He likes engaging with his fans, the public, interviewers. He likes talking about his interests. There's real energy behind that.
But, you know, somebody should give me a straight shot to the jaw, and I think that would straighten me out. I would maybe stop it, but I can't stop it. It's like, please stop me before I do it again.
Oh, but people want you to do it again, obviously. They like it. But do you, no, see, second time it doesn't work so well. You got to think of something else,
Yeah.
now, right? It's the leg.
That was some 5 shit right there. That was some 5 wing 6.
Grabber. I remember you saying that, actually. I still have that fear as well. I used to say my prayers when I was a little kid.
Mm-hmm.
And that fear that if you didn't get your feet up fast enough,
Under the bed,
the leg with the arm, something would come out. Well, you had that same fear, and you always play on that emotion in people.
Yeah, I think that the only way to do it is to make the audience really care for the characters, and then to put them in situations that will simply twist the reader inside out. Because if the reader wants it, he should not get his $2.95's worth. He should get at least $4.95 out of that situation. I mean,
That's interesting, and that is some sort of 5-6-6-5 sort of like, not to use 3 word, but like the kind of value of like it's like the 5-6-6-5 urge to get a deal. You know, they want to they want to maximize their money, and he's framing that on his creative projects.
Guys, if you want to sweat, I'll try to make you sweat.
Oh, and that's like a self-press social frame too, that he's adding monetary value to his creative babies. You know, it's like that guy's got no 4 in his type.
Well, that's what I'm here for. I mean, it's like Bruce Springsteen in concert. If you're going to come to rock.
But you aren't worried about overkill because you are. Tell me how many books you have coming out this fall.
4. No. I have 1 coming out this fall. 4 in the next year.
4 in the next.
But that's
already
the clearance
coming out.
sale.
You've written them.
Yeah, they're written, so why not publish them?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if people don't want to pick them up and buy them, they don't have to. I'm not going to twist their arm, but they're great stories, guys. Great stories.
I don't think you actually even have to sell them. I think they sell themselves. I think they actually you've invested them with a spirit, and they go out and sell themselves. Thanks an awful lot for being here.
Ah, she did like it. Wish I would have done that.
George, we're going to have to wrap this up pretty soon.
Yeah, I wanted to show this because this kind of shows like I think George R.R. Martin's like a 9. He's never gonna finish Game of Thrones. He's just torturing everybody because everybody wants him to do it, and he's 9ishly stubbornly never gonna finish the series. He's just gonna procrastinate and make blog posts about football. So he's asking another withdrawn type, how do you finish? How do you write so fast? So this is interesting.
Is there anything that you've always wanted to ask me? Because, George, I will.
He's kind of doing a little 8-wing-7 flirt there, I think.
Yes, there is something I want to ask you.
All right.
How the fuck do you write so many books so fast? I think, I've had a really good 6 months. I've written 3 chapters, and you've finished 3 books in that time.
Here's the thing, okay? There are books and there are books. The way that I work, I try to get out there and I try to get 6 pages a day. So with a book like End of Watch, and when I'm working, I work every day, 3-4 hours, and I try to get those 6 pages and I try to get them fairly clean. So if the manuscript is, let's say, 360 pages long, that's basically 2 months' work. It's concentrated, but it's but that's assuming that it goes well.
And you do hit 6 pages a day?
I usually do.
You don't ever have a day where you sit down there and like constipation and you write a sentence and you hate the sentence and
Okay.
you check your email and
Yeah, when he's describing his 9 and 9 fixed problems, it's just like, this is uncomfortable. I'm just gonna keep not being present. I'm just gonna do everything but the thing.
I wonder if you had any talent after all. And
I mean, he could be 4 fixed. I'm not sure. I think like 6 and 5 in the head center. Social self pres, I would assume. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe I'll tape him too. I don't know. I'm on a roll now.
maybe you should have been a plumber. Don't you have days like that?
No, I mean, there's real life. You know, I can be working away and something comes up, and you have to basically get up and you have to go to see the doctor, or you have to take somebody a care package, or you have to go to the
You have to take somebody a care package. Like, what? Again, 2 fix.
post office, because whatever. But mostly I try to get the 6 pages in, although entropy tries to intervene. You know, I did.
Yeah, I'm like, well, he's for me. Entropy tries to intervene, but it is no match for me. Like, there's that 8-ish sort of. It's like a withdrawn type with the 8 fix. It's like, I'm aware that entropy's there, but like, it's no match for like what's going on inside.
An event.
I think he writes to AC/DC. I think he like literally blares, or like he used to blare AC/DC. I also tried this too because I was like, much like George R. R. Martin, I was like, how does he do it? But now I've done a lot of self work, and if you have this kind of problem too, you can work with me, and I will help you regulate through the discomfort that is causing you to procrastinate. Anyways, but yeah, it's like he would blast AC/DC. Also, weirdly, a bunch of people that I talk to that have 5 in their type, they're super sensitive to noise, but then they fucking listen to like death metal loudly while they're doing stuff. And it's like, what are you making?
At Radio City Music Hall for charity with John Irving and Joe Rowling. And this was the time, J.K. Rowling. And
oh yeah, here he's doing some 2-ish drops. I forgot about this.
this was at the time that she was finishing the 7th Harry Potter books. And I know that I've been very fortunate as a writer, and you've been terrifically fortunate as a writer. You worked for a long time, wrote a lot of good books, won a lot of awards, and then out of nowhere, all of a sudden, this crazy thing happens where all these books are suddenly New York Times bestsellers, and God knows it's deserved, but it's a sort of sudden thing. And here's the other thing, okay? People yell at you and say, we want the next book. We want the next book. They're like babies. We want the next book right away. I mean, it's a great thing to want that, but the pressure that you feel or I feel compared to that final Harry Potter book, you know, everybody wanted that, and she came to New York and she.
So it's kind of like he's framing it like everybody wanted J.K. Rowling's books even more than my books, but
She was nearly finished with it, and she'd agreed to do this event. And Joe was trying to do 3 things at once. She was going to do a vacation with her kids. She was going to finish the last 5 or 6 chapters of the 7th Harry Potter book, and she was going to do this event. And she showed up to do the sound check at Radio City Music Hall, and she was dressed like any housewife or mother or anyone who was on vacation. She had a shell top on and
this is like some self-press social. Like, why are you even noticing this shit, dude?
white clam digger pants and loafers or sandals or something, and her hair tied back in horsetails. And we were trying to talk about what we were going to do and everything. And the Scholastic Press publishers is pulling her aside and talking to her. And Joe was very polite. But when she came back and talked to me, she was really, really angry. And what she said was, they don't understand what we do they? And I said, how can they understand when we don't understand?
So there's a little bit of social 2-ish stuff in here. It's like, and also 5, like, I don't know. I mean, some of these observations I have are reaching. I get that, but It's like, oh, um, I helped assuage her fears, her frustration. Um, we don't understand it. We're different than everybody else. There's like a little bit of that going on. A little bit of five, a little bit of two. What's this? I haven't watched this. Nature of Evil.
I mean,
Maybe this will tap into some super ego stuff here.
my fantasy series, of course, is often compared to Tolkien, and I've talked
Well, probably similar types actually.
in many interviews about and I love Tolkien. I'm the biggest fan in the world of Lord of the Rings, but
Me too. Yeah.
Tolkien's view of good and evil in that is evil is externalized. It comes from Sauron or Morgoth before it, and there are orcs who are absolutely irredeemable, and the good people get together and stop the orcs, and most of the good people are good. I've always been more attracted to gray characters, and I've said in many interviews, well, I do think the battle of good and evil is a great subject for fiction, but in my view, the battle for good and evil is waged within the individual human heart, and it's our decisions. We're all partly good and partly evil.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, I think George R. R. Martin's probably 964, maybe 9-wing-164. It looks like a 9-wing-8, maybe a 9-wing-164. Social self-pres. That feels fourish to me a little bit. We're both good and evil, but with 9 in front of it, where it's like there is good and evil, and then moving down the line, it's like I'm both. I'm rotten and I'm not rotten.
And we make decisions every day, and we may do a good thing on Wednesday and then an evil thing on Thursday, or a selfish thing, and it's all very complicated. And that's kind of the approach that I've taken. But I'm also a huge fan of Lovecraft, and I think you are too, from reading some of your books. And I see Lovecraftian influences in.
Yeah, and Lovecraft is probably a 5 or 5 fix. So I don't know. I mean, I've seen pictures of him. He looks kind of 5'1"ish, but I'm not sure.
Things like the end of revival, the vision of the afterlife. There is a terrifying Lovecraftian moment. The short story, the name I'm forgetting, about the standing stones, that everyone who sees them gets OCD. That's a very Lovecraftian
It's an easy
story.
title to forget. It's just N.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
And The Mist. The Mist is another incredible story. Very Lovecraftian. This mist escapes, and who knows what the hell is in there, but it's really scary in there.
It's going to be a TV series from Spike too, and I think it might be interesting.
Wow.
Wasn't as good as the original material or the movie. I just also remembered The Raft was my other favorite Stephen King. That I just wanted to add that.
But even though I see the Lovecraftian things, when I look at your books, the real villains are the people. I mean, Carrie kills a lot of people in that high school, but she's not the villain. The villain is the mother and the other kids who torment her and do that. Misery. Annie Wilkes is, what a horrifying creation, and one that.
Yeah, well, that movie's interesting too, because it's like, I don't think James Caan was playing a 5, but he was embodying a 5 fear, which is one that like Stephen King literally played out, being incapacitated by a car accident. So he's like incapacitated and at the mercy of a 2. So it's like the 5 fear and the 2 monster, and he's got both in his type. So he's like playing out some kind of iteration of some maybe like self paradox, or who knows.
One that both you and I.
The 5 fear of engulfment, and then the 2 smothering mother, the devouring.
I live in constant terror of, and any successful writer.
Right.
And by the way, we were talking earlier in the green room there, and Steve asked if anyone ever showed up at my home, and people do occasionally show up at my home. But the creepiest thing that ever happened to me is one day there was a package in my mail, and I opened it, and it was just a paperback copy of Misery, with no letter. Nothing, just some unknown fan.
It was from your number one fan.
I mean, Under the Dome, maybe you can say the aliens are the villains who've trapped it, but it's really the horrible, ordinary people under the dome who start doing these incredibly horrible things to each other.
And there's something about Stephen King's stories where it's like, what existed first? Like Under the Dome, it's like, didn't Simpsons do an Under the Dome episode? Was it before Under the Dome or was it after? I don't know. But it's like there's this quality of Stephen King's writing that feels like it already existed in our psyches first. But did it? Like I don't know if it did. Like there's this weird quality to his stories that feels like he's tapping into something eternal. And I don't know what that means typologically, but it's like he's sort of maybe it's like a 5-6. It's like I think he's got triple fear in his type because he would be 5 wing 6 plus 8 wing 7, so that's triple fear. And then you would have 8 in the gut, 2 wing, could be 1. I'm not sure. I don't know if it's 2 wing 1 or 2 wing 3. Could be 2 wing 1. Well, we'll see what his answers are to this, and then I'll decide. But some of the wings, they can be played with. But George R. R. Martin needs to get to the point. It's like a fucking 9. Okay, here we go.
Evil. Is there an external evil in the universe? Is it Sauron or Satan or Cthulhu, or is it our own?
And you know what I will say? Under the Dome as a concept, like there's this really good comic series called what is it called? It's the Luna Brothers. There's like Girls. It's called Girls by the Luna Brothers, and it's like an Under the Dome concept. And like I always I love it. I wish that I had written it. It's a good I don't really read comics that much anymore, but that's a very good kind of Under the Dome. That one's tapping into like a bunch of fucked up sexual breeder shit. It's kind of interesting.
Fucked up human natures.
It's interesting because you're right. There's no Sauron in the Thrones games. I mean, the evil weaves itself in and out the same way that the good weaves itself in and out of the characters. And one of the things about the thing is, I wrote a series of books called The Dark Tower. And
it's probably 2 wing 1 because he does have a lot of like those epic good versus evil, The Stand, like all of these sort of, it's 2 wing 1. I'll just go with that. Yeah, he's totally just doing it for the applause. What a ham.
And those books were all done basically. The 7 Dark Tower books are one long novel that never got edited because they were done either as short stories or they were done as limited editions from Donald Grant Press. Nobody edited them and nobody copy edited them. So I went back and I revised the first one, and I really need to go back to all of them. And one of the things in there that to me is a problem is my version of Sauron was the Crimson King, and you see this mark, the Eye of the King, all the time. That's outside evil. And in a way, outside evil is a more comforting concept than, the idea that the devil made me do it is a way of shucking responsibility and saying that I'm not there. So.
Yeah, 2 wing 1. Let's go with some 1 influence in there.
I think that we all understand that evil is inside a lot of people. And yet at the same time, I think that what a lot of, and I'm not expressing this very well, but what a lot of horror fiction does and what a lot of fantastic fiction does is it allows us to grapple with the outside evil that strikes us. You get a call on the phone that says, your cousin is dead because he was in that Orlando nightclub. Or you get a call like in...
Yeah, this is interesting because George R. R. Martin was framing it as the evil within, like there's like this war playing out inside of yourself. And the way that Stephen King is framing it is like it's the world out there that we have to grapple with. That's interesting, and that does feel super ego-y. And also like maybe the five thing of like it's the outside world that I have to protect myself against, but also like kind of like this wing six external fear is coming in. It's gonna the bad man is coming to get me. Two fix. There's nothing evil in here, honey. I'm good. I'm good. I ain't evil. It's y'all who's evil. Especially with the eight fix, because eight wing seven is kind of a devilish combo. But I have noticed people with eight and two and a little bit of six in there, they won't own their shit. They will not own their fucking shit. No way, no fucking how.
The thing that makes End of Watch start, you get a diagnosis from the doctor that says you have cancer and you're probably going to die within the course of 16, 17 months because this thing's just gone too far, and it's the kind that's, in the book, it's pancreatic cancer. And it's not a spoiler, really, because it's on page 9, for Christ's sake. So, so don't yell at me. I hate this thing about spoilers. Wow, you spoiled this, you spoiled that. You can't spoil a book. Jesus Christ, it's a story. I mean, you go in there to have the experience. It isn't like, getting a GI Joe from the, in your cereal box or something. I told you
Rosebud is the sled.
Yeah, I'm not expressing that very well. So there are two kinds of evil. There's inside evil and there's outside evil. And I think that when we have the stories like, N and the Lovecraftian stuff, we're trying to cope with the sort of things that happen in our lives that are bad things that we don't understand.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of a 5 frame. Because 5s are like afraid of that like big other, the big outside world, and so that's like why they sort of competency over focus on one particular thing that they get really fucking good at. And they can have other interests, obviously, and he's tried his hand at a few things, but there's usually like a singular line for 5s for the most part that they're mastering. And it's a way of coping with the fear, and so that like, and that does seem like what he's done. He's like he's like fear max, it's fear maximum, maximum king. There's a screenplay, an old screenplay that was written, like a fanfic sort of screenplay that was written about Stephen King on cocaine, making Maximum Overdrive, and it's pretty funny. It's called Maximum King. I haven't read it in forever though, so I don't know if it holds up, but. Do I want to just finish this? Do I have anything else to say? I don't know. I like Stephen King. He's kind of doing the old person thing of going insane on the internet. It's like, cut grandpa off. But you know what? He's like, really like, he's one of the biggest writers in the world. He's contributed so much. Like just volume wise, but also like, I don't know. I mean, I've read so much of his stuff. I feel like he somewhat shaped my childhood. I would be remiss to ignore his fingerprints on my psyche, my creative psyche. And yeah, I don't know. Did he kill the guy who hit him with the car? We'll never know. Do I care? No, I don't care. This is pretty funny. Oh my God. Oh yeah, and he does cameos in all of his, and like almost all, if not all of his films, except for The Shining, I guess, which points, there's sort of like an 8-2 intrusion, an intrusive quality to that. Yeah, like, I don't know, did all of them ask him to be in their movie, or does he make it part of the contract? I don't know. And again, like the fact that he's made his marriage work this long, I feel like speaks to him having like super ego beyond just wing six. Like there's a sort of, and maybe self-pres social, it's like, I'm a good person. I'm going to make this work. Maybe Tabitha's also a writer, but I think she kind of is like the supporting character in the Stephen King story. And whether she's like a 9 or a 6, probably, she's kind of the glue that holds it together because he's doing his 5 thing, which is writing, and she probably feeds him. And I don't know, maybe bathes him, washes his clothes. I don't know. I don't want to be so insulting as to put her in that category, but I don't know. I guess I could go on at length for a while, but that would be really unbearable. So I'm gonna end it here. 5 wing 682. So he's like 5'8" 2". I call it the meat locker. Wings 6'8" 2". Alter ego, which I call hamburger helper. His wings 6'7" 1". That's not like it's not a tri type. So yeah, Stephen King, a hero to many.